All right, integrated one. I was going to teach this live, but my first period class on Monday is dead, and so I'm going to make sure I teach this with the video as well, so that I don't have to redo this. Here we go. Dead. What I mean is not everyone's here yet. So we're going to talk about the distance formula. Today, I'm only going to introduce you to it. If you look at this right here, this is the distance formula. It comes from another source. We will talk about that on the deep dive whenever we do this. But for now, this is just going to be mechanics. So you can read this. I want you to read this formula. This right here is the square root. You see this? If I took the square root, let's say of the number 81, it equals 9. That's the square root of 81. It equals 9. That little thing right here, this bar is the square root. And you're going to be doing that at the very end. But just so you know, that is the square root function right there. And again, let's say I took the square root of 25. The square root of 25 would actually be 5. Okay, so what it's actually wanting from you is the square root of all of this stuff. But in order for this stuff to make any sense whatsoever, so again, this is a mechanical dive today. It's not a deep dive. I want the mechanics. I'm going to make you do the mechanics on this because math is so mechanical. So you have room on the back of your page. You're going to be doing the work for this on the back of your page. So let's go ahead and first start by reading this formula together. It's the square root of, inside here we have our parentheses, of x2 minus x1 squaring that plus y2 minus y1 squaring that. At this point, your skills should be decent enough that this doesn't freak you out at all. Look at the example. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to label. This first one is x1. This one right here, this one is x2. How do I know that? Y'all, because this is the first point and this is the second point. So this x1 refers to the first x coordinate of the first point. The second one, or the y1, is this, and then the y2 is this. So it's just referring to x and y coordinates, but it's specifically saying we want the x from the second coordinate. You're going to need 2 points for this. And this is again called the distance formula. And like I told you, I'm going to go deeper dive later. So how does this work? Well, check it out. When we do this, this is x1 is 5, y1 is -1. X2 is 3, and y2 is 7. Look at the places. Look what we have. Look at x2. There's x2. What did I plug in? I plugged in my 3. Boom. Notice I am maintaining parentheses, and notice I'm maintaining the plus sign. Notice I'm maintaining the squaring. You're going to just keep everything the same except for where you see x2, x1, y2, y1. You're going to be putting those all the way in. Right here, you see the minus and minus? That's what we have here. Check out this plus sign right here. How do we end up with the plus right there? Well, let me show you how we did. It didn't just magically go away. You see that minus sign? That's what we're going to use. So I'm going to take you over here and show you how that became a plus sign. So we have y2, which is 7, and then that minus sign has to go there. The minus sign has to go there. What is my y1? It is a -1. So when I end up doing this, I'm going to finish with my squaring. What do we know about a 7 minus a minus a 1? It ends up being a plus. So it's not like it just magically changed to addition. That's not what happened. A negative and negative makes it a plus sign. So when it's all said and done, you will end up doing this work. 3 minus 5 gives you -2. 7 minus minus 1, or 7 plus 1, is 8. And then you have to do your squaring. Look at this next step. 2 squared, or -2 squared, is +4, because negative times negative is a positive. And then 8 squared is 64. And then you got here, you have to go to, when you get to the square root of 68, most of these numbers aren't going to work for us. So you're going to need to use Desmos. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and take you over to Desmos, and I'm going to do in the square root of 68 so you can see how to do this. So the square root, SQURT, you can type it that way, or you can go down here and see that little square root right there. Boom. Type in 68. What do you see? 8.246. You're going to round to the hundredths place. So when you look at this 6, that makes it go up to 8.25. Is that what we have on our answer? Yes, it is. So I'm going to go ahead and do number 1 for you as well. Now that we have this, remember, this is how this works. Where you're going to use the formulas. Today is just mechanical day. You got to get the mechanicals down. So I want to make sure on the back of your page, I want to see number 1, and I want to see this step. I got to see you putting in things just like this. You're going to set it up by setting up your skeleton, and the skeleton is basically just the empty formula. You see the x squared, x1 squared, all this stuff. I'm going to put my minus here. I'm going to put my plus sign here. I'm going to do this again. Again, I'm just setting up my skeleton. Okay, I want to see this on every problem you have. Why? Because this skill, the distance formula, can be done on calculators, but manipulating all the algebra and all the mathematical functions behind it, I still want you to develop that skill. So now let's go over here. My first point is right here. My second point is right here, which would mean in this case that my x1 is 1, that my y1 is 3. Now this over here means my x2, my second x, that's all it means, is 5. My y2 is 7. That's all it means. So I'm going to go over here and plug this garbage in. Let's do it one at a time. Look at this formula. And yes, this is a formula you need to have memorized. I think I'll end up putting it on the wall somewhere, but it's one of those formulas I've had memorized since, honestly, like 9th grade, 8th grade, I think 8th grade. It never goes away. And it shows up in the SAT as well, too. So the second x value in this case we found was 5. So let's plug in our 5 here. Boom. That's a lovely 5. Let's rewrite that 5. 5 goes there. Now let's look at our x1. Our x1 is 1. So I'm going to put that in there. Now let's go back and find the next part. The next part is saying y2. Do I have my y2 labeled? I do. It's 7. And then it wants my y1. In this case is 3. So nothing crazy going on there. That's where these numbers come from. I'm going to switch to red and then just finish this all in red. So now what do we have to do? The order of operations still stands. P, E, oh, that's scary. PEMDAS. PEMDAS. Do you see this? PEMDAS. You can treat everything underneath. I'm going to write this in here. Everything under the square root. Everything under the square root becomes a super parentheses. Everything under the square root is a super parentheses. You have to treat everything under the square root as if it's inside of parentheses. That's how it works. So you got to do all of this stuff first. So this is our first step. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the second step. We are going to square root still. That's not going away. And then here we go. We're going to do the interior parentheses first. 5 minus 1 is 4. And then we have the squaring right here. Now we have 7 minus 3, which is also 4, and we're going to square it as well too. So the 7 minus 3 became 4, this 5 minus 1 became 4, and these are both being squared. Now, again, remember there's a super parentheses here, so I'm going to look inside. Any math I can do inside this super parentheses, there is. I have 4 squared, and I have 4 squared. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. 4 squared is 16. 4 squared is 16. For those who don't know, 4 squared is 4 times 4. And that gives you 16. So we have 16 plus, what do we have over here? 4 squared gives us 16. And again, remember there's a super parentheses here. Now we're going to add this together. 16 plus 16 is the square root of 32. And now what we're going to do, this is the step you can use Desmos for. I want you to show me all your work. And again, if you're like, Mister, that's so boring. Yeah, welcome to math. That's what happens in math. It's boring to learn. All right, square root of 32. 5.656. Do you see that 6 right there? It's going to make it round. This 5 is going to round up. So our answer is going to be 5.66. When it's all said and done, we're going to do that. So what's the distance? The distance equals 5.66 units, whatever they are in this case. That's what we get for number 1. I have the assignment in Empower right now under Unit 7. If you click on it in here, you can see in your resources, it's the assignment and the answer key. Let's check it out. Let's go down to our answer key, and square root of 32 equals 5.66. If I don't see the square root of 32 and all I see is this number, you're not getting credit. I need to see you get everything right. And if you're wondering why, it's because these are skills you need to build on next year's Integrated 2. You're going to learn a lot more about square roots and how to handle them, so you need to be comfortable doing this now. So I will be going around checking your work today, making sure you have that. So that is the video for the day. That pretty much handles everything. Good luck.